Welcomed legions of Elvis fans from around the world as they pay tribute to the artist and to the man. And every year there seems to be some new nugget that we learn about the king of rock and roll.
For 48 years, an attic in Elvis Presley's Graceland mansion was left untouched, shrouded in mystery and intrigue. But now, its secrets have been unlocked, and what they found inside is unbelievable. What was in there, and why were people interested in the details? Join us as we uncover the secrets hidden deep inside this attic. The sad end of Elvis and the echoes in his mansion. In August 1977, the entire world was shocked by the death of Elvis Presley. The news spread quickly and fans flocked to Memphis to pay their respects. The day after his passing, almost 100,000 people gathered outside Graceland, mourning the loss of the iconic king of rock and roll. It was hard to believe that he was gone. The people in Memphis were feeling very sad. They comforted each other by hugging on the streets and crying while listening to his songs on the radio. Elvis's death was not just the loss of a famous singer, but also the end of a significant part of many people's lives. After he died, many stories and rumors began to circulate. Some claimed to have seen Elvis at the airport using secret aliases. Others insisted they saw him in small towns getting fast food or performing on stage in distant places. Books were written, bizarre recordings surfaced, and voices resembling Elvis were heard. While many of these stories were debunked, the idea that Elvis could still be alive brought solace to those unwilling to bid him farewell. Inside Graceland, the Presley family got ready for a special goodbye. Elvis was dressed in a white suit and light blue shirt and placed in a beautiful casket for fans to view. Many people stood in line to show their respects. On August 18th, a solemn funeral procession started with 17 white Cadillacs driving through Memphis to bid farewell to a man who was beloved by many. Many well-known friends and family members attended Elvis's memorial service. Priscilla, Lisa Marie, and Vernon Presley stood solemnly trying to control their sadness.
Missouri woman was arrested today on federal charges in connection to extort Elvis Presley's family out of millions of dollars and steal ownership interest of Graceland.
Elvis was buried next to his mother Gladys at Forest Hill Cemetery. However, the calmness did not endure for long. Only 2 nights after that incident, a group of individuals attempted to steal Elvis Presley's body in a bizarre scheme for financial gain. Despite the plan failing, it caused distress and concern for the family. Additionally, a tragic accident occurred near the entrance of Graceland when a car veered out of control and struck a group of mourning fans, resulting in the deaths of 2 young women and injuring another. The sorrow and grief intensified throughout the week. Due to an attempted theft, Vernon Presley decided to relocate Elvis and his mother's remains from the cemetery to a secluded area in Graceland, known as the Meditation Garden. This tranquil spot, which Elvis had previously established, became their permanent resting place. Later on, there were changes at Graceland. The gates were shut, rooms were locked, and curtains were closed. The attic remained out of bounds. Despite the tighter security, no one understood why the attic was always inaccessible. Before we dive into what was found inside his attic, let's uncover what happened before the king passed away. The sad changes in Elvis. In the beginning of 1977, there was a noticeable change in Elvis Presley. The famous singer, who used to be full of energy and charisma, seemed to be losing his spark. Instead of his usual vibrant self, Elvis appeared to be weighed down by his personal problems, which those close to him ignored. Fans and journalists started to see a change in his performances. What used to be thrilling concerts were now somber and burdened. Occasionally, Elvis would forget the lyrics to his songs. His singing became unclear and he appeared distant in his eyes. During a performance in Alexandria, Louisiana, he quickly left the stage, failing to engage with the audience. There were times when he couldn't even leave his hotel room. Despite canceled shows and alterations, he continued to make an effort to perform. Despite his declining health, Elvis Presley did not stop pursuing his passion for music. While his fans were concerned about his well-being, he appeared unfazed by their worries. Those who were closest to him noticed another side of him, a man who spent a lot of time by himself, reading spiritual texts and reflecting on the past. Occasionally, Elvis would express unusual concerns. His cousin Billy Smith recalled how Elvis would reminisce about old memories with laughter, but would also frequently delve into unsettling paranoid thoughts. In June of 1977, Elvis Presley's final song released before he passed away was "Way Down," which was played on the radio. During that same month, CBS recorded 2 of his live performances. It was evident from watching these shows that Elvis was not in his usual form. In one performance in Omaha, his voice sounded weak and at times he spoke the lyrics instead of singing them. He had difficulty hitting notes that he used to sing effortlessly, and he seemed tired instead of energetic like he was known for. August 16, 1977 is a day that will always be remembered by the world. Elvis Presley, who was only 42 years old at the time, was found unconscious in the bathroom of his beloved Graceland. The place that used to bring him solace had now become the location of his passing. Despite being quickly taken to the hospital, it was too late. The iconic king of rock and roll had passed away. Initially, some people thought that his death was due to a heart condition known as cardiac arrhythmia. However, not everyone accepted this explanation. Those close to him, his supporters and medical professionals felt that there was more to the situation. Eventually, after a post-mortem examination, it was uncovered that Elvis had a lethal combination of prescription substances in his system. This distressing revelation shed light on his battles, isolation, and quest for relief from his pain. Dr. George Nicopolis, also called Dr. Nick, was a close friend of Elvis Presley in the final years of his life.
In California, and when he moved back to Memphis, became his personal physician.
Okay.
From 1976 to 1977, he prescribed over 8,000 medications for Elvis, including powerful painkillers and sleeping pills. Many questioned why Dr. Nick's name appeared on so many of Elvis's prescriptions, but he never denied it. Dr. Nick stated his intention to assist Elvis and felt that Elvis was already struggling with addiction.
Did he have a drug dependency issue?
He only had a drug dependency issue one time after he came into Memphis.
He believed that without the medications he provided, Elvis might have resorted to more harmful substances. Dr. Nick explained this to the jury during the trial, and they accepted his explanation.
Died. A lot of people blame the prescription drugs. Is that what killed Elvis Presley?
No, drugs had nothing to do with his death.
As a result, they concluded that he was not at fault for Elvis's death. Dr. Nick continued to face more problems in the 1980s. He was accused of providing excessive prescriptions not only to Elvis but also to other celebrities such as Jerry Lee Lewis. Despite the severity of the claims, a jury believed that Dr. Nick had good intentions and was simply trying to assist these individuals. The Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners had a different perspective on the situation and did not forgive him easily. They revoked his medical license for 3 months and placed him on probation. Eventually, in 1998, after repeated warnings, they permanently revoked his license. Due to his excessive prescription practices, he earned the nickname Dr. Feelgood. In 2020, a new theory emerged, proposing that Elvis Presley's health issues may not have been solely caused by medications. The theory suggested that he could have had hereditary heart problems. If this theory holds true, it could mean that there has been a misunderstanding about Elvis's health for many years. But how did Elvis rise from being unknown to being called the king of rock and roll? The quick rise of Elvis Presley. Before becoming famous, there was a young boy named Elvis. He was born on January 8, 1935 in Tupelo, Mississippi. His parents, Gladys and Vernon, were kind-hearted but faced challenges. Elvis was meant to have a twin brother named Jesse Garin, who did not survive. As a result, Elvis became the focus of his parents' attention, particularly his mother's. The Presley family was not wealthy. Vernon had to work various jobs to provide food for the family. At times, they had to depend on their neighbors or government assistance to make ends meet. In 1938, their situation worsened when Vernon was imprisoned for check fraud, leading to them losing their home. Nevertheless, Gladys always made sure Elvis felt cared for and protected. Elvis was a quiet boy when he was young and preferred being by himself. He attended East Tupelo Consolidated School, where his teachers considered him to be an average student. However, there was a special quality about him. He had a strong passion for music that brought him happiness. His family regularly attended a small church where Elvis was introduced to gospel music for the first time. The sound of the singing, clapping, and beautiful melodies filled him with joy like nothing else could. At the age of 10, Elvis entered a singing competition at the Mississippi-Alabama Fair. His performance of Old Shep landed him in 5th place, which was a significant achievement for him. In that same year, his mother gifted him his first guitar for his birthday. With guidance from his uncles and a supportive pastor, Elvis started learning how to play the instrument. He observed attentively and practiced quietly on his own, feeling too timid to perform in front of others at that time. Elvis changed schools in 6th grade and encountered new challenges. Some classmates teased him for enjoying what they called hillbilly music. Despite the teasing, Elvis persevered. He found solace in a radio program hosted by Mississippi Slim, who later became a friend and mentor to him. Slim provided Elvis with his first opportunity to perform live on the radio. Initially, Elvis was nervous and made mistakes, but he persisted and gradually gained confidence. During his teenage years, Elvis developed a deep passion for music. He always kept his guitar close by and had aspirations of becoming a famous musician. In 1953, he managed to save up some money to record 2 songs as a present for his mother. When he entered the Memphis recording service owned by Sam Phillips, he poured his heart and soul into his music. Initially, he went unnoticed, but Elvis remained persistent. Despite facing rejection from various bands he auditioned for, he continued to return to the studio. Despite his fame as the king of rock and roll, the boy from Tupelo remained hidden behind his glittering image.
Well, I didn't know what he knew all of it, but he knew that he could do whatever he wanted to, and nobody told Elvis Presley what to do, because he was a very strong person, and we had a...
Inside Graceland's attic, away from the public eye, were personal items that revealed the true Elvis. Among his flashy outfits and guitars were sentimental items like a beloved teddy bear, his mother's Bible with personal notes, and a high school yearbook full of kind messages from friends. These personal items were not intended for fans or museums, but were for Elvis to cherish his past. Searching through the attic brings out the humble small-town boy with big aspirations. As the superstar image fades away, the old belongings offer insight into his emotions, aspirations, and struggles. Viewing these items from his life alters our perception of the legendary figure, serving as a gentle reminder that Elvis Presley was once just a young boy striving to find his path in life. So when his mansion was finally opened 48 years later, what was found inside? The secrets hidden within Graceland's mansion. He was only 22 years old when he made a decision that would shape his future. He purchased a stunning mansion on the outskirts of Memphis for $12,500. While this may seem like a small amount now, it was equivalent to nearly $1 million in today's money. The mansion was already named Graceland, and Elvis liked the name so much that he chose to keep it unchanged. Graceland wasn't just a residence to Elvis, it was a place where he found comfort and happiness, surrounded by music and affection. The property was extensive, featuring barns, fields, and horses. One amusing aspect of Graceland was Scatter, Elvis's playful pet chimp, who would dress up in funny costumes and prank visitors, making everyone laugh and question who was in charge, Elvis or Scatter. In 1964, Elvis made a serene spot on his land known as the Meditation Garden. It was adorned with flowers, fountains, and pillars, and quickly became his go-to place for peace and quiet. In this special area, he would spend time reflecting on his life, loved ones, and the pressure of being known as the king of rock and roll. When he died in 1977, the garden became his burial site, a tranquil and lovely spot that fans continue to visit. After Elvis Presley died, Graceland was open to the public to visit, but certain areas were off-limits. One of these was the second floor, which contained his personal rooms and was kept locked to even well-known guests. The attic above the second floor was also a mystery, as no one ever talked about it, and it seemed to be completely forgotten. For years, fans speculated about what could be hidden in the attic and why the Presley family never acknowledged its existence. In 2024, Graceland was in the news once more when a company accused Elvis Presley's granddaughter, Riley Q, of not repaying a loan. They attempted to sell off Graceland, which upset fans worldwide. People in Memphis and fans of Elvis were devastated by the possibility of losing this significant historical site. Riley quickly responded, stating that the claims were false and the documents were fake. She suspected it was an attempt to illegally take her family's home. Just before the sale was set to take place, a judge in Tennessee intervened. The judge halted the auction and declared that Graceland was not just a private property, but also a significant historical site that belonged to the Presley family and the public. Surprisingly, nobody from either party appeared in court that day, but the judge's decision remained, ensuring the safety of Graceland for the time being. People continued to wonder, what would have happened if the judge did not intervene? What if someone else had purchased Graceland and explored the attic? What mysteries lay hidden there? what had been kept hidden for all these years. In 2025, after almost 50 years, the attic door was finally opened. It was a quiet moment with a few record keepers entering, no big event or reporters. The room seemed untouched for years. Dusty boxes filled with memorabilia from Elvis's life lined the walls. Inside were handwritten songs on napkins, old photos that had never been seen before, and stacks of fan mail that had never been opened. Several items were found during the exploration, including love letters, heartbreaking notes, and toys from the childhood of a boy who would later become a music icon. One item that stood out was an old leather jacket with a mysterious note in the pocket that said, "Put this on when you want to vanish." This message was an intimate reminder from a man who occasionally wanted to escape the public eye. New revelations uncovered more hidden truths. These discoveries revealed a different side of Elvis's last moments, showing a more intimate and emotional perspective. The narrative surrounding Graceland became more intricate, demonstrating that although Elvis has passed away, his essence, memories, and enigmas endure eternally. Other hidden items in Elvis Presley's attic. In the dusty and neglected attic of Graceland, there was a small box that had been left undiscovered for many years. The box had the words "Practice Sessions 1976" written on it, though they were faded. Nobody had looked inside the box for almost 50 years, but when the archivists finally opened it, they found a surprising discovery: a set of old reel-to-reel tapes that had never been seen before. As they listened to the recordings, the room fell silent in amazement. These were not professionally recorded songs meant for concerts or albums. Instead, they captured something very personal. Elvis was by himself with his music. His voice could be heard softly echoing as he sang to himself. On the recordings, he experimented with gospel songs, mellow blues, and unusual new sounds produced by an early synthesizer. It was obvious that he was on a quest to discover a new sound, something unique and innovative, but unfortunately, he never had the opportunity to introduce it to the public. A particular recording stood out among the others. It was Elvis Presley singing Unchained Melody with only his voice, no instruments or backup singers. His singing was emotional, at times shaky, at times faltering. It seemed like a goodbye, a final farewell. This recording was done shortly before his death, giving it a sense of being a personal, musical message from his heart. However, that was only the start. A variety of boxes contained piles of fan letters that had never been opened until recently. These letters were written by soldiers, optimistic youth, and bereaved families who reached out to him. In one particular letter from 1976, Elvis was urged to prioritize self-care over touring. It remains a mystery whether Elvis ever laid eyes on this letter or if it went unnoticed among the unread items. The tapes and letters contain a new story that has not been previously shared. This story includes both happy and sad moments, along with quiet times and aspirations. They serve as a reminder that beyond the public image and success, even the most famous celebrities have their personal thoughts, dreams, and struggles. So aside the hidden letters and sealed boxes found inside, what else did they find that left people both shocked and emotional? The shocking discovery in Elvis's attic. When Elvis Presley passed away in 1977, the world did not just lose a great musician. It lost a man whose life was full of fame, but also sadness and yearning. Graceland, his home, became a place of pilgrimage for many fans who wanted to see where he lived and get a look at the man behind the music. People from all around the globe visited Graceland to see his gold records, extravagant rooms, and even the famous Jungle Room. They were amazed by his private planes and flashy stage clothes, but there was one area that remained off-limits, even to those who knew Elvis well. This was the attic. For many years, the attic stayed shut. People were curious about it. Rumors spread about what could be inside. Some thought it held valuable items from Elvis's past. Others believed it was full of personal keepsakes. And there were some who thought it contained something too emotional and special to disturb. No definite explanations were provided. Even when questioned in interviews, individuals who were close to Elvis would only give ambiguous answers regarding the attic. They would gently smile and mention it was related to family matters. This brief response intensified the curiosity surrounding the attic. It led people to consider the possibility that the attic held a significance beyond just being used for storage. Some speculated that it could have been kept untouched out of respect, mourning, or fear of what uncovering it might reveal. One common theory is that the attic was closed off as a way to honor Elvis's mother, Gladys Presley, who passed away in 1958. Elvis was very close to his mother, and her death deeply affected him. Some people believe that the attic symbolizes Elvis's emotions, struggles, and his desire to hold on to a piece of his past that fame could not reach. When the choice was made to open the attic, it was not an easy decision. It was not taken lightly. A group of experts, including restoration specialists, historians, and archivists, was put together for this task. Their objective was not just to clean out the attic or make it into another exhibit for the public. Instead, their focus was on understanding the attic, listening to its story, and feeling the history it held for so long. From the second they entered, they could sense that the attic was unique. It wasn't just dusty, it was quiet, not in a dead way, but in a profound, significant manner, as if the air itself was carrying something. The furniture was covered in layers of undisturbed dust. Sunlight came in softly, almost timidly. There was a strong vibe in the space, as if time had frozen. In a far corner, beyond a stack of boxes and hanging clothes, the group found something surprising: a locked door. When the door was opened, it moved slowly, as if it did not want to open. The air inside was colder, the light dimmer, and what they saw in the room left them speechless. The clothes from past decades were neatly arranged, with dresses hung carefully and shoes placed thoughtfully underneath. On the vanity table, there were old perfume bottles still in place. The items were organized with purpose and belonged to Gladys Presley, not Elvis. The smell of lavender could still be detected on a few pieces of cloth. It felt like someone had recently left and could come back at any time. The handwritten letters from a mother to her son were particularly heartwarming. Some were brief, everyday notes, while others expressed strong emotions. They conveyed optimism, worries, and genuine affection. A photograph depicted a youthful Elvis Presley looking hopeful and untouched by celebrity. Although the picture was beginning to fade, it preserved a moment of innocence. The room seemed like a memory that was stuck in time. It was a time capsule of affection between a mother and her son. However, there was an even more unexpected revelation. Across from the vanity, there was a mannequin. Instead of standing straight, it was sitting down, looking like it was lost in thought. A white jumpsuit worn by Elvis, adorned with rhinestones, was hanging on the mannequin. The cape was casually draped over one shoulder. The level of realism in the mannequin surprised one of the team members so much that they gasped and even apologized, as if they had interrupted someone. The questions were asked rapidly. Who put clothes on the mannequin? Why that particular outfit? And why did they place it in his mother's room? Some people believed Elvis created the tattoo himself many years ago during a moment of strong emotion. They thought he did it to stay connected to his mother even after she passed away. Others speculated that a family member, like his father Vernon or daughter Lisa Marie, may have done it to honor the past. And there were those who thought the tattoo was never meant to be shown to anyone, but was a personal way for Elvis to express his sorrow. Reports from the weeks leading up to the attic being opened contributed to the mystery. Security cameras at Graceland had captured odd movements in the upper areas. There was a shadow by the attic door, a faint creaking sound, and a flickering light. Although these events couldn't be easily explained, after the attic was opened, the footage was re-examined. One shadow appeared to stop right where the mannequin was discovered, which was unsettling. Some dismissed it as a coincidence, while others thought there was a deeper significance. No one was found breaking in. However, the emotional effect was very clear. This wasn't just about possessions or Elvis's reputation. It went deeper, touching on how we handle our pain. We often hide our painful truths because they are too difficult to confront. The attic revealed a story not of a celebrity, but of a grieving son, a man who had lost the most important person in his life. Elvis became more lonely as he became more famous. People only saw his success and his fans, not the loneliness he felt. He had a small world that he kept to himself in the attic, where he kept his mother's memory alive. He could still feel close to his mother in that private space. The jumpsuit wasn't just for performing on stage, it was the outfit he used to confront the world. Leaving it in her room may have been his way of asking, "Do you approve of who I've become?" It was similar to a child showing their protective gear to a parent, the item that helped them endure life's challenges. The letters were very intimate. Some were just quick notes. Others inquired about his well-being. Some discussed their dreams. A couple of letters seemed to be hastily written or stopped abruptly, possibly due to strong emotions. Reading them felt like eavesdropping on a private discussion that was left unfinished. One brief letter had a message that he would remain her son no matter what others said about his title. This sentence touched the readers and made them emotional. It conveyed the idea that even famous figures still crave their mother's love. The restoration team was very careful in their work. They did not just list items, they also made an effort to experience the weight of each one. A few team members even claimed that this process had a transformative effect on them. It wasn't just about finding things, it was more like they were engaging with someone who had been longing to share their story for a long time. Now that we know what's in the attic, a new question comes up. What should we do with it? Should we include it in the Graceland tour? Or should it be kept as a private area, preserved but not shown to others? There is no decision yet from the Presley family. But one thing is clear, the attic has altered people's perception of Elvis Presley. They do not just see a celebrity in fancy clothes anymore. They now see a person who has experienced love, sadness, and desire. This person shared everything with the world, but also kept a part of themselves private. Despite becoming famous, they always remained connected to their family. Graceland has a lot of stories to tell, showcasing cars, awards, and fame. However, the attic reveals a different story about heartbreak, devotion, and memory. It proves that even in fancy mansions, the most ordinary rooms can hold profound truths. Elvis's story did not stop in 1977. It lives on in the sealed room where his belongings are kept. His letters, clothes, and the silent atmosphere of the room reveal a lot about him. The attic is more than just a neglected space. It reflects the inner turmoil of a man torn between his true self and the public persona forced upon him. Perhaps the lasting impact of Elvis Presley isn't just his music or fame, but the love that remained hidden over time. In an attic covered in dust and shut away, Elvis's most authentic self was preserved. He did not long for fame or fans, but simply to be remembered. And now, at last, he is. What do you think about these recent discoveries? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more celebrity gist. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.